Hi, my name's Brad.rau, and in this video we're going to learn basic strumming patterns. This video is going to be for people who are just starting out on guitar and want to learn how to get something going with their right hand to get a little bit more music. They've learned a couple chords. I'm going to be using an E minor chord for this video. 6th string open, 5th string, 2nd fret. I'm using my second finger, doesn't really matter what finger. 2nd fret of this, I'm hitting these two together. Open, second, and then these open, I'm hitting all 6 strings. You can use any chord you want. You can just hit the open strings for now, just to get the idea of what I'm talking about, and then put in a chord later if you're having trouble with chord. Or if you're starting with guitar, don't tire yourself out with the chords, and let's just focus on the pick if you have trouble with chords. So, all of the chords we're going to be doing are based on 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna be strumming 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Notice that I'm strumming a little bit harder on 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to understand the hierarchy of music, and I'm gonna lie to you right now. I'm gonna say all music is in 4 beats. Okay, some music isn't, and we're gonna ignore that for right now. So we want to just get used to counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And the hierarchy I just want to talk about very quickly. 1 is considered the downbeat, the start. And the loudest and most important. If you were dancing, you would come down on the 1. You would step down on the 1. You would never step your foot up on 1. You'd always step down on the 1. Beat 2 is one of the weaker beats. Well, beat 3 is the second strongest beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 is the next, and then 4 is actually one of the weakest beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. You don't hear that a lot, and if they do, they're doing it for a special effect to get an emphasis that is interesting because it's against the grain. But the general grain of the music is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the thing that you want to get. When I'm strumming with my pick, I'm holding the pick very loose, and the pick is flopping. A lot of problems get blamed on the left hand. I'm not doing the chord right. If I hold my pick tight, the death grip that most of my students just naturally hold the pick at, that's what it sounds like. And they say, what am I doing wrong? I'm holding the pick like almost so that it's falling out of my hand. It's very loose. This hand is very tense. My left hand is very tense. My right hand is very relaxed. And just floating across the strings. The pick is also giving. It's flopping. One of my students calls it flooping. Invented that word for when the pick flops, as if like the rubber pencil flopping very gently. Like if you're petting a cat. Another way I explain it, how you would pet your cat is how you should strum your guitar. Not very, very gently. Okay, so if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to do now, that's the basics of all music. And if you can get that, all other strumming patterns grow out of that strumming pattern. So if you can get that, then what we're going to do now is take away. Okay, now for right now, we are not going to take away beat 1. Because by definition, that if we're going to start on 1, we can't take away 1. Now, in certain music like reggae, taking away 1 is kind of important, and maybe in jazz. But we're going to the tangos in flamenco might take away beat 1. But we're gonna say we're not going to take away beat 1, and we're going to make it really simple for right now. Even though later on you realize that in certain cases you can. So we're going to take away beat 2, which in for someone who knows music a little better means I'm going to put a rest on beat 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, I encourage you to count out loud. And I would like to remind you that counting out loud means that your lips are not only moving, but physical sound is actually coming out of your mouth too. So count out loud. Don't count too quiet. Don't just move your lips. Let's get this coordination. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's called taking away. That's what I call taking away on 2. Most people would say there's a rest on 2. We're going to take away on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Notice that I'm doing what I call a ghost strum. Of course, I'm not actually strumming the guitar, but I'm moving my hand in this motion, because what I'm doing is I'm keeping this flow. We're going to learn that no matter what I do, my hand is going to go back and forth like this. So I want you to actually miss. 1, 2, miss. 4. I want you to miss. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Count. 1, 2. Count with me. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And practice that. Then we're going to do missing on beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Missing on 4, by the way, is going to be the easiest choice when we're switching between chords. If you're starting guitar, you know, making a chord is hard, okay, fine. But then getting from a chord to another chord without going, that's hard. So we're gonna talk about that in another video, but just for right now, I would like to mention that when you take away on beat 4, it makes chord switching easier. And I just want to point that out. And the implications as a more mature musician are, going to be, and we're going to talk about adding on 4 too a little bit later. Okay, so taking away on 4 is the easiest. So we took away each of the beats one at a time, and we came up with a number of different strumming patterns that are giving us some variety. The next thing that we're going to do is add. Now, by adding, I'm calling it adding. I'm being very simple. A trained musician would say I'm going to put an 8th note. I'm going to put 2 8th notes on beat 1. But I'm going to just say adding for right now. I want to make this very simple. So I'm going to strum down and up. Now, I'm going to tell you something that most guitar players do, but most guitar players don't realize that they're doing. I'm going to tell you that they're doing it. Okay, yeah, I already said I'm going to say it. This is normally, it's kind of a trade secret here. So simple when you get it. You'd probably already do it, but if you're teaching guitar lessons, it'll help you explain to your kids what's going on. Most people, most of the time, there are always exceptions, they strum all the notes on the way down and only the top 3 on the way up. Maybe 4, 3, maybe 2. So here, and I'll prove it to you right now. So first I'm going to strum all 6 strings on the way up and the way down all the time, and we'll hear what that sounds like. Now I'm going to strum all of them on the way down, and just the top couple. I'm not worried about if it's 2 or 3 or 1, and maybe it's even. I'm just getting a couple of them, but not all of them on the way up. And it's a little bit of a scoop. I call this opening the door in tribute to the Karate Kid movie. So you can practice opening your door all day, and you'll be able to do this move. So here it is with only a couple on the way up. All of them. Only a couple on the upbeats. That's what most people sound like when they play guitar. That's probably what you sound like when you play guitar. You probably are like, oh wow, I never realized I'm doing that. You're doing that. Good guitar players, all good, so it can save you time if you realize that that's kind of what you're going for. And of course, there's deviations, and in a later video, we're going to talk about many of the deviations of that. But okay. So adding on beat 1 is going to sound like this. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, count with me. 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to add on beat 2. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Did I just say we're going to add on beat 4? That was adding on beat 2. I don't know what I'm talking about. So that was adding on beat 2. I just added on beat 1. I'm adding on beat 2. Now I'm going to add on beat 3. I'm adding an 8th note on beat 3, an up strum. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice that my hand, 2, is continuously in this up and down motion. And when I strum up, my hand is moving up anyway, and I'm just kind of hitting the notes on the way up. So I always have this flow. Miss, even if I miss. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to add on beat 4. I think aesthetically and culturally, most people use adding on 2 and adding on 3. What I'm calling that's not a technical term. Most people would say adding 8th notes. But most people would prefer that. Adding on beat 4 sounds a little bit weird, but this is the hardest one to do. So if you're a beginner, you might not want to add on 4. But if you're trying to increase your legato, if you're trying to be more connected, this might be a technique to consider to improve something that is already working pretty well. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So you can practice those. Those are really good things to get under your fingers if you're trying to get strumming patterns. Those are really basic ones. And try them in songs. Don't worry about if that's not the strumming pattern that they do, but try to take a chord progression that you know really well and try to do those different strumming patterns. I'm going to do an E minor and an A7 for an example, something that you could practice. And then I'm mixing. This is what musicians are doing. Maybe more complicated. Might not sound good because this is a very simple form. Every time I'm doing a little bit different. I can mix rests and 8th notes together. At a slow tempo, you might be able to get that in there. So these are this is the way that you're going to, once you can get some chords and you want to develop and turn it into music, these are the steps that you're going to take. So I hope you got something out of this video, and I'm going to have another video on more advanced strumming patterns that is going to come out later. So thanks for watching.